How was the premiere last night? Good fun?
So much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. It's so amazing to have. I think it's the third premiere that I have had at Leicester Square, and it's just such an amazing. The fans are so awesome, and the space is so incredible. And this movie is a movie that is made for the big screen. So to see it in that theater with 2,000 people, I mean, it's crazy.
It is. It's very much a movie built for an audience.
It really is.
So was it fun to see it with the audience, and did they get the reactions at the right point and everything else?
We sadly had to leave, but it sounds like from everybody who we know who was in there that the reactions were amazing, and they were completely in the. You know, I think also this movie really brings you in, and you're sort of truly inside the movie with us. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of balance here because there's a bit of drama as well, right, particularly with yourself and Dwayne. That I was just talking to Brad about that scene in the helicopter. It's quite heavy.
Yeah, it
so
is.
It must be nice, but obviously both you guys get to do stuff, but that scene in particular stood out. How is it balancing that?
Well, you know what I really love about this movie is that, again, you know, you never the genre of this movie never was a limitation to us, only a really wonderful platform in which to sort of see these true emotions come out and what it is to be in a crisis with people that you love. And I love that they drew this character, you know, for Dwayne, and he embodied it so beautifully and with such abandon and subtlety and nuance, and of this man who, you know, because of his own demons in regards to this tragedy that's happened in their family, he couldn't really be with the woman that he loves. He couldn't expose himself in that way emotionally. And finally, when we don't know if we are actually going to survive, if we're going to be around tomorrow, he finally tells the truth. And I just love that in this movie that is absolutely a wild ride and completely adrenaline filled, there's also room for real emotion. And I think not only room for it, but it makes the movie much more interesting.
And Alexandra, you kick probably more ass than The Rock does this entire movie. That must have been fun, but I'd say over a long period of time as well, you have to be in good shape. It must be pretty exhausting too.
Yes, we both trained pretty extensively for this film, and I love the physical nature of this character. I think it helps build the character, and I think that as she goes through this journey, she becomes stronger and more of a leader and utilizes the things she's learned from her parents. And it's great fun to do the types of things I got to do for this movie, work in a water tank and do stunts and run and scream and all that stuff. And I think it brought the character out. It made me feel closer to Blake.
And they must be long days. So obviously it's a huge production. Brad has so many plates spinning, everything else going on. What was the atmosphere like on set, and how did Dwayne add to that atmosphere on set? Because I was just saying again to Brad, looking at his Instagram is motivational enough, never mind being around the guy. So what's it like on set over that long period of time?
Yeah, he really is tireless. We also had, which is actually very key on a movie where you're doing long hours, the most amazing craft service ever. They provided us with like energy balls and like green drinks came around. And,
Every 2 seconds, if I keep eating, I'm not going to be able to do this.
So we were definitely taken care of. And the Australian crew too. I mean, you know, Aussies are like, there's such a great sense of humor, and that's a big deal too. So if you're working long hours and the crew's into it, everyone was very, very passionate about this movie, crew included. And Dwayne is, you know, he is 100% where he is when he's there in an amazing way. And so there was never a moment that we weren't able to laugh or to work on a scene or to explore something deeper, or, you know, he's really, and as you said, he's super inspirational, but more so, much more, he's not preachy in any way. He's just someone who lives what he speaks. Yeah. And that's always really inspirational, and he's funny too.
But you're mentioning craft services there. I'd feel really bad eating like a bar of chocolate. Dwayne Johnson sitting there. So everybody was super healthy.
But still a bar of chocolate's very healthy.
Oh,
yeah, it can be.
Healthy, no.
It'd be funny. We'd be working in the water tank, and there'd be craft services carrying around plates of food while we're all in wetsuits, and people are eating fries. There's like a fry floating in the water, and I don't know.
He is a cheat day. He is like an entire pan of brownies.
That's right.
It's one cheat day, but it's like everybody else is going to
Exactly. Like it's like
much.
my brownie consumption for the month is like,
Right.
is
Yeah.
like one day.
And am I right in believing the internet told me this? The internet never lies. Obviously, that both of you guys are Irish. Both of you guys have Irish ancestry, Irish backgrounds.
There is Irish.
I can't believe
yeah.
that's on the
And
internet.
Italian. And
you're running for
I'm a
office,
little bit Irish.
If you're running for office, it'd be super helpful. That's when it really comes out. If somebody's running for office for something, all of a sudden they're
Right.
Have you guys ever been, or is there any plans to maybe come to Ireland one day?
I went and shot. I was shooting a BBC miniseries years ago called The Buccaneers, and we shot up at the Giant's Causeway.
Oh, lovely.
Which was truly one of the most exquisite places I've ever seen in my life. I was absolutely blown away. I have a lot of Irish friends, and I've never been to Dublin, so I really want to go.
You gotta go.
I have not been yet, but Art Parkinson, who plays Ollie in this movie, I am friendly with his mother and him, and I told them last night, actually. I said I'm going to show up on your doorstep and in Ireland and come stay with you. I'm so excited to go
We have to go do
visit.
that.
Yeah.
You got it, guys. Well, look, thanks so much for your time and congrats on the movie.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
See you
much.
later,
much.
guys.
What's that noise?
We're not high enough.
Get down! Get down! Take cover! Hold on tight, Ollie!
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
It's always extremely upsetting to me to see somebody around my age doing so well. So I say that begrudgingly.
You're doing well. We're sitting here. This is a
Sitting
good
here, it's
life.
true. We're in London. It could be worse, I suppose.
A lot worse.
But this is obviously it's a huge movie. You've got The Rock. You could get pretty much any movie greenlit he wanted to just with his name alone.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to keep all those plates spinning? Because there's so many stunts, there's so much special effects.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult. You know, you you work really hard. You don't sleep for a lot of months. At the end of the day, you know, the thing for me that I kept my eye on was the cast. It was the story. It was the small story. You know, it was the story within the story. I always knew we'd have, you know, millions of dollars of visual effects. I knew we would have the scope and scale. I knew that because I designed it and did all the set pieces. But in order to not get overwhelmed by that and to let that kind of lead the charge, you just focus on the intimate story. You focus on the characters. And so I just kept my eye on them. I kept my eye on telling the story of that family. Because that's what drew me to the project, was this idea of this family that had fallen apart and went through this trauma. And I kind of loved how the script kind of just fed you little bits of that information. So as an audience member, you were like learning, you know, the first time you see Dwayne with the photo and there's 2 daughters and you're like, how come they haven't mentioned the other daughter, you know? I just kept my eye on that stuff. And I always thought if we can get that right, if we can get the performances right, if we can get the heart right, I can do the visual effects in post. I know I'm going to have that, but I go to the movies because I want to feel something. And I thought, you know, a lot of times you get these big movies, but there's no heart, there's no emotion, there's none of that. There's none of that richness. And so I kept my eye on them, and you know, then I could look around and go, oh yeah, all right, everything's still going great, fantastic, keep the plate spinning, but let's get these guys, you know. And it really kind of shaped how I shot the movie too, because I wanted it to feel real. So it was all about, like, you know, hitting them with the wind and the dust and the rocks and the water. You know, it became putting the cast really in the events instead of like leaning on VFX all the time. And it just made the movie feel real and grounded. And I think that's what gives it that stronger emotional quality.
Yeah, speaking of which, probably the more heavier scenes, one of the best scenes in the movie, and I don't think we've ever seen Dwayne do a scene like that, was the scene with Ray, Dwayne and Carla in the helicopter, where he breaks down. You know, when you're going from doing these big stunts and organising everything and it's all strategic and there's a whole lot of planning that goes into it, is that a complete just change of gears to readjust yourself?
Not really, because the type of director I am, I've planned all of it in the same way, you know? And the only thing I would say is when you get into a scene like that and you realize most important here is how these guys act. So I'm going to simplify how I'm going to shoot this scene. And it was a bit nerve-wracking because I shot list and I storyboard, and I'm a very, very, very big planner, and I come from animation, so I'm like just all about designing every shot and every moment. When I blocked that with them and I saw how pure it was, how simple it was, I went, okay, we're throwing that out the window, and I'm just doing 2 slow zooms through the whole scene. That's all the scene is 2 slow zooms on each character. And you just get into a place where you go, you know what the most important thing today is recording this honestly. I don't care what kind of fancy toys we have. I'm not doing it anymore, we're doing this. And as a director, I was never able to do that in the past. I'd go in with my plan, I would stick to my plan, and I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
I know the plan's gonna work. But in this movie, I was like, my gut says this is better because I'm here now, and plan's out the window. This is a better plan.
And what kind of atmosphere does Dwayne bring to the set? Because obviously, you know, looking at his Twitter and his Instagram, he's incredibly motivational. Does that translate
Yeah.
in person as well on set every day?
I think that the great thing about Dwayne, that and the reason that like all you guys love him and I love him and everyone really loves him, is he is as advertised. Like, he does that stuff. Like, that's him. You know, that's not an army of people doing stuff for him. This is Dwayne. This is who you get. This is the guy, you know, and he is as advertised, and everything great you hear about him is exactly true. And he brings that with him everywhere. I mean, honestly, he is so positive. He's such a good person. You want him to continue to have success because he's so good. He's just, you know, he's just a great guy. And he's so easy to work with. He's so easy to collaborate with. And I'm very, very lucky because, you know, the younger actors, everyone sees it. You know, he's the big star. But yet, he's there working harder, faster, you know, he's in it,
Leading
you know.
by example.
Oh, 100%, 100%. He's such a great leader for the cast, and I'm very, very lucky to work with him twice now.
Brad, thanks a mil for your time and congrats on the movie.
Thanks, man.
Best of luck with it.
Thank you.
I've been for a walk.
Oh my God.
The earth will literally crack open. And you will feel it on the East Coast.
I love you, Dad.
I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to get out, and I mean now. If you can't, God be with you.
All right, hold on. We gotta get over it before Chris.